Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yo, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Aaron Williams.
And welcome. It's the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are radio for the local craft beer movement, broadcasting from our flagship studios here at AM 920 The Answer in lovely Buckhead, Atlanta. And I'm Aaron Williams.
And I'm Tim Dennis. And we're beer guys first, Aaron.
Obviously, yes. That's our job.
Sometimes we mix it up.
Yeah, we
do.
And
we're doing that today. We're going to mix it up. We are talking whiskey, rum, spirits this week.
Yes.
In the studio with us, we have Michael Anderson from Independent Distilling in Decatur, Georgia. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it. And on the phone a little bit later, we're going to have Erik Vonk from Richland Rum. He was going to join us in the studio, but had a little scheduling snafu.
Exactly. Now, we are beer guys first, but they do have a beer background, too. So even though they're distillers, we've got some beer mixed in there. So it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you know what? I mean, it's November. The weather has kind of turned a little bit, and it's getting a little bit on the chilly side. And
is it?
It's stout season for me. I don't know about you. So
it is. The nights are dipping down a little bit.
It is. So it's a little bit on the chilly side. What did you have? You went on a trip this week, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I took a little spontaneous trip up to Blue Ridge. So I had a Sunday available, went up there. We stopped at Fanning Brewing Company. We talked to Tom. Tom will be on the show here in a few weeks with Fanning Brewing. Tried some of their beers. They had a really nice Oktoberfest that I enjoyed. And went over to Blue Ridge Brewing, had a bite and a couple beers there. And we were going to try Grumpy Old Men, but time didn't allow. We weren't able to get to all of them, so we'll hit them next time.
Yeah, and the funny thing was my cousin was at Fannin at the exact same time you were. And she texted me a picture. She was like, "Hey, look what I found!" And it was like the beer guy sticker on the back of somebody's car. And I'm like, "That car looks familiar." And then, like literally 2 minutes later, you posted that you were there, and I'm like, "Aha!" That's like I
saw the pic that's spotted in Blue Ridge.
Exactly.
I'm like, "Hey, someone found us out there."
That's
very
cool. Funny, yeah. So for me this week, like I said, it's been kind of a stouty kind of a week for me, and so coffee stouts are one of my favorite beers styles, and so I kind of indulged a little bit. Southbound Moonlight Drive just came out just a couple weeks ago in cans. So I had that, really, really enjoyed that. One of my favorite coffee stouts, actually, from them. Also, a Death by Coconut from Oscar Blues, which I love that. I love coconut. I love that roasty, chocolatey, and it's just, it's so good, to have and really enjoy. Also, went over to Lincoln Fill Station too. They had a Wicked Weed tap takeover last week. Wasn't able to get to that one, but they have a ton of Wicked Weed still on tap. I had the Old Fashioned. Have you had that one yet?
I have.
Yeah,
it's nice.
I really enjoyed that one too. And plus, they had the Founders.
They do great stuff over there.
Yeah, they do
all the time.
They do have a really cool lineup. They always have a bunch of stuff. So for us, Snellvillians, Lawrencevillians, Quinetians. Lincoln Phil's always a good place to be. And also had Founders Backwards Bastard on tap, too, and that's always a classic.
Another good one.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So yeah, pretty good week, I think.
Yeah.
We got more to come.
All kinds of stuff going on. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so let's check out the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week for this week.
Crack open a cold one. It's the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week. Woo-hoo! Craft beer and food trucks in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com.
And we broke one open earlier here before the show, pre-gaming a little bit, so enjoying this right now.
The beer of the week is whiskey.
Exactly. So
pour yourself a pint and belly up to the bar.
Yeah, I'm really interested about the whiskey, actually, that our guest Michael has brought. So tell us a little bit about that real quick.
Well, whiskey made from beer, which, whiskey is a distilled beer. So this is from our neighbors at Blue Tarp. Blue Tarp Brewing is right next door to us. So we had them make what essentially is a Scotch ale, which we then did a double distillation on, put it in a barrel for 16 months, and this is what we got. Delicious.
Can't wait to try that one.
No, definitely.
We're easing into this, as you were about to mention there, and we started out with some terrapin goodness, a little pregame in there.
Yeah.
So.
With the 2015 and 2016 Wake and Bake Coffee Stout. So the good folks at Terrapin sent us the 2016. I had a couple of 2015s left in my stash, so had to break that out too. So we're going to be drinking some good stouts and some good whiskey this week.
Awesome.
I enjoy that.
Can't beat it.
So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in the headline.
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines. Sponsored by Your Pie Perimeter in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center across from Perimeter Mall.
So it's a good thing that we're drinking coffee stouts because, I've had a pretty rough week. No sleep. Of course.
Get the coffee there.
I know. I need the coffee to kind of wake me up a little bit. As a program director of the station, I had to make sure that the election results and all that kind of stuff were coming in. So I had a very late night on Tuesday, Wednesday and still recovering from it. So I'm a little slow.
Was that from the results? From the work
comments?
that you did on the results, or from the actual results?
It was the actual length of time. I wasn't expecting it to go as long as it did. So
let's just say it was a very close election.
It was a very close election. You know what?
Which I think surprised a lot of people on both sides.
Definitely surprised a lot of people. And here's the Beer Guys PSA. No matter what side you're on, you can always enjoy craft beer. So bridge the gap between your friends who may not have voted the way you wanted to with a good craft beer and enjoy yourselves. This has been a Beer Guys PSA. There you go.
There you go.
Public service announcement. No.
Cheers.
Yeah, so we have got some interesting news, actually. Of course, it is voting season, and so we did have some things that happened on the beer front when it came to voting. Oconee County actually voted yes on Sunday alcohol sales, so folks over there will be able to drink alcohol on Sunday and buy some alcohol on Sunday, which is your right, actually. Got 68% voter approval, so pretty popular, which would make sense. And that's that county, by the way, Oconee is just south of Athens, by the way. So basically it said, Sunday sales of alcohol, of liquor by the drink, and package sales of beer and wine. So starting hopefully very soon, looks like Oconee County won't have to go elsewhere on Sunday for their alcohol. Albany, the lovely town of Albany, they've had a microbrewery in planning for quite a long time, finally had their groundbreaking. So that happened this week. It's been about 11 months in the making, and it is going to be, it's called Pretoria Fields. So they are going to go ahead and have that. It's going to be right down in downtown Albany, taking the place of the Art Park on Pine Avenue. So it looks like it was an empty art space, almost like an empty vacant lot, that they're going to build a little brewery in there. So that'll be nice for the folks.
Did you find any additional or extended info on them? I couldn't find much when I was looking.
No, I looked at Pretoria Fields, and all I could get was some information on South Africa, and that's all I could get. So,
there you go.
So maybe we'll have to blow a call into the folks in Albany and try and figure out what's going on. So that is what's happening. So a couple other things of note in the national scene, actually. Dogfish Head, of course, makers of the 60, 90, 120-minute IPAs and all sorts of other crazy stuff. They're finally going to start selling their beer in cans. They're actually going to start doing that in mid-November. So the 60-minute IPA, one of their more popular beers, will be their first ever canned beer. And they've been around since 1995, so it's been quite a while they've been open. This will be their first one there. And, and a lot of folks are excited about that. It's a good beer for tailgating and crushing. So Dogfish Head getting into the canned game, so to speak. So another thing we've got, too, it's, they're always a little more progressive over in Europe. And we are there's a service called Hurd, Hurd, over in the UK. And what you can do is basically it's a delivery service where you get craft beer cider every month, but you also get a 7-inch exclusive vinyl record deal. So you've got craft beer and vinyl records, which is like a hipster's heaven, I would think. All they just need to do is get some beard oil and some plaid shirts.
I wasn't I'm not into the vinyl now. Yeah. I've got digital music. It's so much easier than records. So that works for me. But back in the day, late 80s, punk, European import discs, the vinyl was hugely sought after. A lot of the kind of underground punk bands and that would do special releases that you'd have to go to the special record store. It was kind of back there in the corner. Kim's Comics in Auburn, New York.
Well, there you go.
That was my
joint. To get that stuff. Yeah. It's right there where the zines are and all that kind of stuff and the imports. Oh, yeah, I had plenty of import stuff. But, I know that audiophiles would probably smack me over the head with this one, but I just, honestly, it's digital media is so much easier now and much more portable. I can't not do the vinyl anymore.
It works for me.
It does.
I understand it's not something I'm passionate about like other things, but I know there's people that are.
Exactly, and it's kind of fun to see vinyl make a comeback. I went to a record store not a record store, but like a comic book store the other day with my son, and he was like, "What are those?" And I'm like, "Those are records, son." Yes.
You're an old man, Aaron. Records.
I'm a very old man.
Yes.
Speaking of which, no, we're not going to speak of which because that's a terrible segue, Aaron Williams. We're going to speak to some young men. And
you need to drink more of that coffee stout.
I need some. I'm a mess. And we're going to go ahead and talk to Erik and Michael doing a little bit of spirit talk, distilling whiskey talk on the Beer Guys Radio Network. And we'll also have the Whale of the Week. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
Yo, is Joran van Henrachter van Three Taverns Brewery in Decatur, Georgia. En u luistert naar Beer Guys Radio.
The Beer Guys are back right after this.
Morgan and Lisa with Your Pie Perimeter here. We'd like to invite you to our store for a beer.
Is there anything better than pizza?
Yep. brick oven pizza that's made fresh and paired with a cold craft beer.
That's what you get at Your Pie Perimeter, located in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center by Perimeter Mall.
It's the perfect place to relax on the patio with a pint after work or bring the family in.
Follow Your Pie Perimeter on Facebook for all our beer events and specials, including beer tastings that you won't find anywhere else.
That's Your Pie Perimeter, located in Perimeter Place Shopping Center next to Chipotle. Tell them that the beer guy sent you.
Hey, this is Aaron. I want to thank you so much for listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We've got some really awesome things that are coming soon that will help us engage with you some more. We're not going to lie to you, though. It takes time, effort, and money to produce this show every week. So if you'd like to be part of the Beer Guys family, we would love your help. Head to patreon.com/beerguys to become a sponsor. We're not going to beg. Okay, maybe just a little bit. But hey, we've got some great swag for those who become a sponsor, and you'll be among the first to know about the great things that are coming to the Beer Guys universe. Again, that's patreon.com, patreon.com/beerguys, or you can go to beerguysradio.com and click the sponsor link. We thank you for your support, and cheers. Hey, it's Aaron. I want to give a quick shout out to our newest sponsor. It's HopSpot Beer Tours of Atlanta. Now, there's a lot of tours out there, but what makes HopSpot Beer Tours different? Well, you get exposure. There's more to Atlanta craft beer than just breweries. A HopSpot Beer Tour gives you the who, what, where, and when to craft beer right here in Atlanta and the state. Education. Whether you're a native, a transplant, or a visitor, you'll always learn something new. And connection. HopSpot connects you to guests, local breweries, and businesses to create those lasting relationships. We invite you to check out what makes HopSpot different. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter and Instagram at HopSpotATL, and of course, visit HopSpotBeerTours.com. Use promo code BeerGuys10 and receive 10% off your order. HopSpot Beer Tours. Hop on, get connected. That's HopSpotBeerTours.com.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Come visit us at beerguysradio.com. We are broadcasting from the Beer Guys Radio AM 920 The Answer Studios in beautiful Buckhead, Atlanta, Georgia. And today we're talking spirits, and we're talking with Erik Vonk from Richland Rum, and Michael Anderson joins us from Independent Distilling in Decatur, Georgia.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a change here for the Beer Guys Radio Show, but a good change.
They play well together.
They definitely
Spirits
play
and
well
beer
together.
play well together.
Absolutely. So
yeah.
Hey, let's start this conversation. Erik Vonk from Richland Rum joins us on the phone right now. How you doing today?
Doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Now, tell us a little bit about your craft spirit story. What got you into this crazy business?
A couple of disconnects here and there.
Okay.
So, my grandfather, my mom's dad, was a rum connoisseur. He didn't make it or didn't trade in it, but he traveled around the world in search of good rums, and he had this huge collection of rums from everywhere, but most of them with a focus on rum made directly from unrefined cane and not molasses. The difference there is that molasses is a byproduct of sugar making, and which lends itself very well for making rum. But if you instead make rum directly from unrefined cane before the sugar has been, or most of the sucrose has been taken out, you get an entirely different product. And he had this big collection of rums made directly from unrefined cane, and it left me always with this weird idea that, hey, if it's ever possible to grow some sugar cane for the purpose of making rum, I'll do that. And fast forward the clock many decades, I find myself in Atlanta, Georgia, and by accident find out that the southern part of the state used to produce quite a bit of sugar cane in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And first opportunity that was there in the 90s to acquire a small piece of land here in South Georgia, grow a little bit of sugar cane, started making rum, produced undrinkable crap for quite some years. And after quite a few blisters and falling and standing up again, got into it, and I think today we're producing a very acceptable product. Here you see, I hope I'm not too long-winded. Simple question.
No, it's a great story.
We appreciate it. But speaking of your rum, so now you just offer a single rum, correct? You do a single estate Georgia rum, is that right?
That's correct. And single estate doesn't mean single. It means that it's made from field to glass. A single estate. Everything is done on one property.
So you're not importing you're not importing sugarcane from anywhere else. It's right there on your property. Okay.
Yeah, we grow it ourselves.
And you grow all your sugarcane, 100%?
I can't honestly say that because some years we have had a slight underproduction or over demand for the product.
That's a good thing.
And,
I see. Okay.
We've been able to get some cane from local growers here in the area, but it's always been a small portion of our total cane production.
Very cool.
Now that seems like something that would be pretty unique selling point for you guys. It doesn't seem like there'd be a lot of people that'd be doing that from, like you said, from farm to glass, really.
Well, not in rum yet.
Okay.
We are still the only single estate rum in America. There are a number of distilleries that are producing small batches of rum made directly from unrefined cane. But as far as I know, no one is growing cane themselves for the purpose of making rum, and then have the distillery to make it.
Now your rum is also every batch is single barrel. Is that correct? No blending. No blending in your rum.
Never. We never blend. Each barrel is bottled individually, and that's why you won't see an aging statement on our bottles. Instead, there's a little label that gives the barrel number that the bottle is from. And on our website, you have a barrel pedigree tracer that allows you to trace what exactly the history is of, or the pedigree is of your bottle. On average, we age between 35 and 50 months. As we always say, we don't determine the age of the rum. We let the barrel do that.
That's something that's common with beer as well. For the barrel-aged beers, you just kind of wait till they tell you they're ready to be consumed.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. Yes.
Now, with the single barrel rum, is that more common with rum, or is that unique as well, Erik, to offer it single barrel?
No, that's a little bit more common in rum and in distilled spirits in general, and definitely, of course, in beer. But the combination of a single estate and single barrel product is unique.
And that would offer each batch is going to be unique then, doing it that way as well, correct?
It certainly is. The emphasis is more on the barrel because time and again we see two barrels on a two-barrel rack that have been distilled from the same wine, from the same wash, the same day, and half of it ended up in one barrel and the other half in another. And bingo, 4 years later, or 3 years later, you test them, and you see that they have developed their own character. What the barrel adds in the entire process is very significant. And so, barrels, we only use new barrels, virgin barrels. And depending on what tree they are from, will determine the density of the wood, the amount of sugar in there, the amount of tannins in the oak, etc. And it, of course, has a fairly significant influence on how, over the 3-4 year period, the rum develops itself.
Now, you've got, you can say you use virgin, you use new barrels each time. I know one of the things that you do with the barrels that you've already used is allow some breweries to go ahead and make some beer with that as well. Most notably, Terrapin. I know that they've got the Richland Reserve series with your barrels as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. The first batch, Richland Reserve, came out last fall, last October, and was an enormous success. I think Terrapin, who sells to wholesalers, of course, was sold out in one day. And from there through wholesalers in a number of southern states, the product was available through most of the end of last year. A new batch is coming out in January. A similar, it's a double IPA aged in Richland Rum barrels for a period of, by January, will be about 14, 15 months.
Just about out of time here, Erik, but I did want to talk to you briefly. You're actually in the process of building another distillery in Brunswick, Georgia. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. The distillery is under construction, and we hope to be operational there in a April-May kind of time frame. Distillery will use sugarcane from our farm here in Richland, Georgia. We have expanded our crop considerably already, anticipating the use by the distillery in Brunswick. We'll be making exactly the same rum from exactly the same sugarcane, only in Richland we will not age. It will be a white or a virgin rum versus the aged rum that we produce here.
Excellent, Erik Vonk.
The base product is the same.
Excellent, Erik Vonk from Richland Rum. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Pleasure to be with you guys.
Absolutely. Hope to drink more of your stuff later. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
All right, take care. Beer Guys Radio Show will be back right after this. BeerGuysRadio.com.
This is Nick Tanner with Cherry Street Brewing. You're on Beer Guys Radio.
The Beer Guys Radio Show on the Beer Guys Radio Network. BeerGuysRadio.com.
It's Aaron and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock is always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy. They have 12 of them. Bottles, too. Not sure what to drink? All of their beer servers are Cicerone certified. And if you got someone who isn't a beer fan, not to worry. Truck and Tap carries wine, mixed drinks, and even handcrafted sodas.
As for the truck part, well, that's when it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily. That way, you're getting a different menu every day.
Check it out, Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Here on the Beer Guys Radio Show, we always encourage you to drink local. And of course, shop local at your favorite bottle shop. But sometimes you want something different. A beer you heard about online, or maybe you've got a bottle share to attend, but nothing special to bring, or you just want to check out something new. That's where Inside the Cellar comes in. They stock lots of craft beer from breweries that may not be available in your hometown. Shipping is almost free for every 12 you buy, and if you use our special promo code, you'll get 10% off of your order. Inside the Cellar also stocks wines and craft soda too, and using Inside the Cellar helps us out. So head to BeerGuysRadio.com, click on the sponsors link at the top of the page, and click the Inside the Cellar icon to shop, and enter our special promo code for 10% off, too. That's BeerGuysRadio.com, click the sponsors link, and then go to Inside the Cellar.
Morgan and Lisa with Your Pie Perimeter here. We'd like to invite you to our store for a beer.
Is there anything better than pizza?
Yep. Brick oven pizza that's made fresh and paired with a cold craft beer.
That's what you get at Your Pie Perimeter, located in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center by Perimeter Mall.
It's the perfect place to relax on the patio with a pint after work or bring the family in.
Follow Your Pie Perimeter on Facebook for all our beer events and specials, including beer tastings that you won't find anywhere else.
That's Your Pie Perimeter, located in Perimeter Place Shopping Center next to Chipotle. Tell them that the Beer Guys sent you.
Ahoy there, mateys! Hunting whales? We've got you covered with Tim's Whale of the Week.
Yar, what do we have for the whales?
Man, we got some good stuff. So
yes, we do.
This, by the time you hear this, it's possible this beer will be gone.
I've got an inside track on it, though, so okay.
See, so because, I mean, they're just popular. They're hot. Yeah. Anything they do turns to gold. And it's because they make really, really good liquids.
Yes.
But earlier this week, Creature Comforts released a second beer in their innovation project, Duende. which is double IPA, available in cans only at the brewery. They did move up to a 6-pack from a 4-pack this time.
Yeah.
But that's one if you can get it. If it's still there, if not, maybe some places will have it on draft. Keep an eye out
I did talk to those guys, and they said they was going pretty fast. So I'm rushing up to. I rushed up to Athens to go grab a 6-pack pretty quick. So just to make sure that
get it while you can.
Exactly. Very important. Yes.
But here, a little Atlanta-y. Arches Brewing is doing their first bottle release today. Actually,
just had them on the show, and
they're doing the Rough and Ready double IPA, and cool. They mentioned us. I chatted with them a little bit about that, and they said, as a non IPA kind of brewery, they're really excited about this beer. So the release is today. If you don't make it though, try and get by there quick. Limited bottles on that one, and their first bottle release.
Nice.
Also, Monday night released earlier this week, and I don't know if this one's available, but I want to tell you about it because it's so good. Centaur. Now, Centaur is a special beer that they took coffee beans, put them inside of a whiskey barrel, aged the beans in the barrel, took the beans out, then poured a dry export stout in there and aged that on there.
That sounds pretty perfect to me.
And you get a little bit of vanilla barrely on the nose, a nice coffee, rich, roasty stout. So that's another one. And one to be on the lookout for. It may not be out this week, Aaron, but keep your eyes peeled. I have received confirmation we should see it, is barrel-aged 1050.
1050.
So that's a good one. So we should see it soon. I've heard possibly the week before Thanksgiving.
All right, so check the Instagram accounts of your favorite bottle shops.
That's right.
So
Keep an eye out.
Should be out there.
So that's what I got.
Definitely. All right, we've got us a good guest in the studio. Of course, we just talked to Erik Vonk from Richland Rum last segment. We've got Michael Anderson, a little bit closer to home, independent distilling here in lovely Decatur, Georgia, joins us in the studio. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me.
We'll do the whole interview and leave you turned off.
Exactly.
People will be so confused when they listen to this.
That's right. That's right. But
you guys need to turn me on.
I know.
That's right.
We're
working on it.
That's a personal problem. I'm not going to go there. No. So you've got an independent distilling, like you said, in Decatur, Georgia. While you tell us a bit about your craft beer story, I think I want to try some of what you have just brought, actually.
Yeah, you said craft beer story.
I did say craft.
That's programmed into you, isn't it?
So the craft spirit story. Let's go with that.
Well, we've been producing for about 2.5 years in the space we're in. It took us a while to get licensed up and everything. We are in Georgia, so as you guys are painfully aware, that's not always easy. So, we're just now starting to get into some of the stuff that we wanted to try early on, and so this is one of those things. So what we're very fortunate with our location in that we're directly adjacent to, we actually share a wall with Blue Tarp Brewing, who made the wash that we distilled into this spirit, and then we've also got 3 taverns on the other side of the parking lot, and we've distilled some of their beer as well. So what this is a... There's no legally defined category for single malt in the U.S. Like there is in Scotland. But this meets all those categories of a single malt. It's got 100% malted barley, double distilled in pot stills, and then we aged this in a 15-gallon new charred oak barrel. But the base there is a Scotch ale, essentially, that wasn't hopped. So you can, your basic single malt's going to be all base malt. If you're drinking something from our friends in Scotland. But we wanted to do something that was a little bit, off the beaten path and try to bring something different. So some of these other malts that are part of that Scotch ale recipe bring a lot of flavor. And
I'm getting some of that caramelly kind of taste to it, too.
I got that, too. Yeah. Nice. Now, what got you into this world?
I was raised as a whiskey drinker.
Okay.
It's kind of in my blood.
From milk to whiskey, right?
You can blame my dad on that one. I kind of got obsessed with the idea. I read an article, you've got these craft brewers, you've got boutique wineries, but, distilling, you just always kind of associate with the big boys, which that has been the case for a long time. And I read about 6 years ago an article about a small distillery, a little tiny distillery, like a 100-gallon pot still, and the more I read about it, the more I started looking into it. I literally just got obsessed with the idea of being able to do that, and so that's kind of what landed me here. It's definitely something you want to have a passion for if you're going to do it. If you're looking to get rich,
it almost seems like it's kind of a zero-sum game, because before you can sell anything, for the most part, unless you're making white whiskey or some white spirit, you've got to age that sucker for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years before you can actually sell it.
Yeah, well, and even if you're selling something that's an unaged spirit, the way the licensing works and all that. I mean, you're sitting there looking at a pretty large capital investment, a lot of equipment, and you literally are sitting there, staring at stuff that you can't even turn on.
Yeah.
Legally, you can't fire your still up, for like months. And so it's a lesson in patience, which if you're going to be making whiskey, you got to be patient. But we don't actually, we will ultimately age things that long. But, this is a 16-month age on that because we're using these smaller 15-gallon barrels. So it imparts that wood character really quickly, as I'm sure you guys can tell. In fact, I felt like if we let this one go any longer, you're looking for the balance.
Too much, yeah.
Yeah.
When you're talking about barrel aging, Erik at Richland Rum talked about that earlier. You let the barrel kind of tell you when it's ready, and that's really what you're looking for is the balance between the wood influence that it gets from the barrel and the whatever spirit you put into that barrel. So we do it the same way. We kind of decide, the barrel tells us, when something's ready to go out.
Now, this is interesting. So we're drinking this called Outlier Number 1 that he was just telling us about there. If you're a bourbon, Scotch, whiskey drinker, you're going to notice similarities there with the flavor in that. But if you're a beer drinker and you like this, but there's also differences that depart from that. So it's really interesting, complex there, the flavors you're getting in that.
Yeah, the thing, and I drive brewers crazy, because every time I drink a beer, we did this coffee stouts earlier, I was like, man, that would be so good as a whiskey. But it's because all the stuff that makes beer so much fun and makes, like you guys and everybody else who's so insanely into beer, all those flavors carry over in the style of distillation that we use. It's an old traditional double distillation style. It's a really light distillation. So all those flavors that are in that base that goes into that still are going to carry over, just like you're seeing in this. I mean, that's a pretty minimal amount of those flavoring grains, if you will, the kind of specialty malts. Yeah. And they come over huge. So anytime I'm drinking a beer, I'm always, oh, man, I wonder what this would do.
We analyze them too, but we don't think about distilling them.
Exactly. It's a new way to do it there.
He's wanting to take the barrels and just boil them down to nothing.
That's right. That's right.
All that hard work. Now, speaking of spirits of your whiskeys, you offer 3 products right now, or plus your special releases like this. So you have a corn whiskey, an unaged spirit, you have a bourbon, and a white rum. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So tell us a little bit about each of those.
Again, the rum, I was never a rum guy until, oddly enough, and rum has a long, long history in Georgia. I mean, we could talk about that for hours. I mean, particularly in the original 13 colonies, I mean, rum was the
spirit. Exactly.
There was no whiskey. It was
There's
rum.
a book that I read called "It's the History of the World in 10 Cocktails." I think about rum. Have you heard of that or read it?
I have. I have not read it.
It's super interesting to read just the way they trace history, the rum trade, the sugar cane, molasses production, rum distillation, and then trading the rum back in there. And of course, the South has played a big part in that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's alcohol and history are so intertwined, but it never gets talked about.
They can't talk about it in the high school classes, so it kind of gets pushed back underneath.
It's something you have to learn through the process of presidential elections and other things like that.
Exactly,
that alcohol is part of.
The Boston Tea Party.
That's true.
They actually were not mad about the tariffs on tea. They were mad about the rum tariffs that were being put on them and the molasses tax. So. But you don't throw good rum over the edge of a ship. You throw tea over the bridge point, and you go drink the rum.
Should we throw this in the... No. Save that part.
Keep that. We'll chuck the tea. That's it. So
we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We are talking with Michael Anderson from Decatur's Independent Distilling Company, and you're listening to Beer Guys Radio.
This is Spike from Terrapin Beer Company. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
The Beer Guys are back right after this.
It's Aaron and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock is always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy. They have 12 of them. Bottles, too. Not sure what to drink? All of their beer servers are Cicerone certified. And if you got someone who isn't a beer fan, not to worry. Truck and Tap carries wine, mixed drinks, and even handcrafted sodas.
As for the truck part, well, that's when it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily. That way, you're getting a different menu every day.
Check it out. Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Hey, it's Aaron. I want to give a quick shout out to our newest sponsor. It's HopSpot Beer Tours of Atlanta. Now, there's a lot of tours out there, but what makes HopSpot Beer Tours different? Well, you get exposure. There's more to Atlanta craft beer than just breweries. A HopSpot Beer Tour gives you the who, what, where, and when to craft beer right here in Atlanta and the state. Education. Whether you're a native, a transplant, or a visitor, you'll always learn something new. And connection. HopSpot connects you to guests, local breweries, and businesses to create those lasting relationships. We invite you to check out what makes HopSpot different. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter and Instagram at HopSpotATL, and of course, visit HopSpotBeerTours.com. Use promo code BeerGuys10 and receive 10% off your order. HopSpot Beer Tours. Hop on, get connected. That's HopSpotBeerTours.com. Hey, it's Aaron, and you know what I hate? When I miss a favorite TV show and forget to DVR it. Don't let this tragic tale happen to you when it comes to Beer Guys Radio. Subscribe to us on demand. It is easy. If you've got iTunes, Stitcher, or any other iOS or Android podcast app, search for us, or go to beerguysradio.com, click listen, and you can copy and paste the RSS feed. While you're there, by the way, give us a review. It really helps. That's Beer Guys Radio on demand. Catch it today.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. BeerGuysRadio.com is our website. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of the socials as well. Wrapping up right now with our Spirit segment, our Spirit show, with Michael Anderson from Independent Distilling. He's in the studio with us right now. We're drinking one of his Outlier special edition.
Numero uno.
It's absolutely delicious. Made with a Scotch ale. I wouldn't call it a beer, but almost like a wort without the hops is what we're drinking on. So it's very interesting. So now, like you said, we're talking about some corn whiskey, your rum, and you also have a bourbon release as well as part of your quote-unquote course series. Why those three?
Yeah, corn whiskey's got a long history here in this part of the world. The Scotch-Irish who first came here and brought the distilling tradition. They got here, they didn't have barley. So, you make do with what you got. Well, there's corn. So, corn whiskey is the predecessor to bourbon. In fact, our corn whiskey, which is a legally defined category, has to be 80% or more corn to be corn whiskey. And it's the only whiskey that can be called a whiskey without any aging. And then we take that, and by putting it in a barrel and aging it, it becomes bourbon. So those two are actually the exact same thing. One of the things I love to do with people when they come in to do tours and tastings is to let them taste each other side by side. So you taste this corn whiskey, and when you're having that, it's what comes from. You're tasting the grain, what it's made from, and then trying the bourbon afterwards, where it's the exact same juice. It's just been in this new charred oak barrel, which is what makes it bourbon by definition, and just night and day products. It's an educational thing as much as just a delicious time, but it shows you how much when you're drinking aged spirits that you're really it's the wood that really is what you're tasting and what you're experiencing. So a lot of fun, and we've got an aged rum that'll hopefully be coming out about January, February. Again, we let the barrels tell us when it's ready to go. So we're close. We're very, very close. So I'm very excited about the aged rum. It's delicious already, but just
not where you need it to be, right?
Isn't that tough to wait? You're like, it's so close, but not quite.
Just another month. We'll get it there.
Exactly. Yeah. It physically hurts sometimes, yeah.
Speaking of so close, but not quite, something we talked about briefly before we went on the air, but that everybody's interested in. You can say as much about this as you're able to. But you work with 3 taverns.
Yeah.
That's I think it was early 2014 or 15?
2014, February 2014. They called us up and asked if we wanted to distill some of their Feast of Noel that they had. They had about 300 gallons that they were kind of deciding what they wanted to do with. And so, of course, I'm like,
yeah, you're trying to distill every other beer. Now you've got a chance to do one.
Yes.
Right?
When do we get to do it? So, the wild card there was that, normally any just standard beer style, I could tell you that it was going to be a delicious whiskey. A pretty unique whiskey based on the type of beer, but delicious. But this was a spice whiskey, and we're not talking like subtle spice, like allspice, cardamom, clove. I mean, these are big,
Feast
bold
Noel,
spices.
I describe it like Christmas in a bottle. It's got that spicy, Belgian flavor to it. It's just it's so delicious. But it must be a challenge for you. Yeah,
the candied sugar in it as well. So I said, we'll absolutely distill this, and we did, and the distillery smelled like a gingerbread factory for the entire time we were doing it. Because again, all those flavors that are in that beer are going to carry over in the distillation process. So it's been in a barrel since February 14, and it's just fantastic.
When do I get to drink it, Michael? When do I get to drink it?
If you come see me, I might give you
all right.
I'll
come on by.
That's an incentive.
Sounds good.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we're just we're waiting on the government. We've finally got our formula approval from the government. So as soon as we get the label approved, we're going to go ahead and release that. And we want to do some really fun stuff with it. It's a really cool. Education, but also just kind of beer geeky thing to be able to sit down and drink the whiskey that was made from a beer,
and
drink
itself,
the beer, and really get to compare notes. It's a lot of fun for people like us.
Yeah,
yes,
it's funny. You get to drink alcohol. I'm a fan of it. Exactly.
Now, something I don't think we mentioned it yet, but you use all local ingredients in your spirits, correct?
Everything but the malt. Yeah, all the grains are local. Malt. Unfortunately, I'm waiting on the day that Georgia has its own malt house. We've tried to source some. I like North Carolina and other places that are a little bit ahead of Georgia, but unfortunately, they're just covered up trying to meet the need in their backyard. So,
yeah.
There's been talk of that. I'd love to be able to do all 100%
Georgia with everything.
But we do as much as we can. We get our corn, our rye, and our wheat is all grown here in Georgia.
Excellent. Just wrapping up right now with Michael Anderson from Independent Distilling. How can folks get a hold of you? You guys have a tasting room open, correct?
Yeah, we with the new laws that went into effect, we never planned on having a tasting room in the space we're in, but the laws. Slow as it happened, it got better. So we opened a tasting room back in February. So people can come out and see us on Saturdays between 2 and 5. We do our tours and tastings. You can do souvenir bottles, and you can find us, your usual social media outlets, independenttdistilling.com, Facebook, Instagram. But yeah, come out and see us. It's a lot of fun. We're in the Bermuda Triangle there over in Decatur. You've got
Wild Heaven, Blue Tart, and 3 taverns right there. Huh? Yeah,
exactly. So
and then you can go grab some dinner at the Brick Store, and you'll be all set to go. That's
or my parents' basement.
That's
right there too.
That's right.
Swing by Twain's.
All the great things are there. So Palookaville.
You guys are on a good spot. So awesome. Michael Anderson again. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate it. Now we've got the hot list coming up. Let's check it out.
Time for the hot list. The beer guys have the scoop on what you need to know for next week.
That's hot.
Aaron, tell us about Alabama.
Okay, here we go. A couple of things going on in Alabama. Kind of a slow week, but still a good week. We've got some stuff going on. Trim Tab, a friend of the show, a former guest on the show. They're having easy listening karaoke, which is going to be, again, Sunday at 2 p.m. So if you ever felt the need to bust out your Lou Rawls or, some yacht rock, you'll be good to go.
You said easy, and then you said Sunday, and I was hoping for Sunday morning.
That's why I'm easy.
Sing it, Aaron. Sing it.
See, look, I'm going to go.
Are you going over to Trim Tab?
I might have to just bust that out. That's perfect. Yellowhammer is having a craft beer night at the Hilton Garden Inn at the Space Center in Huntsville, which I always think is good because you can have your craft beer night, and then you don't have to go home. You can just stay there at the Hilton Garden Inn overnight and just and be good with that. That's Thursday. Also on Thursday, they're having Singing River in Florence is having their Thursday Tappening, which is their dry hop sour is what they're going to tap. And finally, just because I like the name, at Cahaba Brewing Company in Birmingham, also on Thursday, they are having Thursday Brews and Pork, which, two of my favorite things, beer and pork products. That's going to be at 5 p.m. too. So
sounds good.
I love it. What you got in Georgia?
Okay, so Monday, the return of a crowd favorite here.
Yes.
Bourbon Barrel Drafty Kilt release at Monday Night Brewing.
Nice.
So that's good. Speaking of whiskey,
speaking
of barrel aged beer. So yeah, annual release from those guys. Always a great beer. Monday at Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd have thunk, right?
There you go.
So on Tuesday we have a game night at Reformation. On Wednesday, trivia night starts at 8 p.m. at Your Pie Perimeter. We ate there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
We were just in there last time. They had a chicken and waffle pizza.
You had that. I
did try that.
So, yes.
Did you try it?
I went old school. I went with the classic sausage pepperoni type of thing. That's
so nice beer list. Yes. Good people there. Good pizza. Trivia night, 8 p.m.
There you go.
Thursday, 3 Taverns has their cranberry sauce can release. This is their first can release, Aaron, and they have mentioned they're going to be doing some small batches. They do their sour asylum. They do the hop Hop Leaf Project.
Yes.
So
exactly.
where they offer these, and people have said over and over they want to take some home with them. So this is their answer to it. They're going to start offering small batches, releasing at the brewery only. So, and this is the first one.
Just in time for Thanksgiving. It's good.
And cranberry, have you had the cranberry sauce?
No, I have not, actually.
It's great.
Yes.
So check it out. Get you some turkey and stuffing on Thanksgiving Day, and pour you a can of cranberry
That's
sauce.
what I like to hear.
So,
there you go.
Friday, Dark Side of Terrapin beer release. We were just sampling this year's Wake and Bake. That's going to be officially released along with the Moohoo at the brewery. Check that out on Friday. Friday and Saturday, Abbey of the Holy Goats hosting a beer and cheese pairing. And on Saturday, Kennesaw Beer Tour with Hopspot Beer Tours. If you want to go check those out, they are a sponsor of the show. Use code BeerGuys10. That will get you 10% off your beer tour.
Yeah, I know Jason and the guys at Hopspot do a really good job with that. So
they do.
If you want to head up to
Jason's
Kennesaw,
a great guy.
Definitely to your neck of the woods and see what's going on. Go check it out. Hey, we've got a giveaway to give away.
We do.
What do we got?
And our giveaway this winter, wait, no, that's not right. Our giveaway winner this week, Aaron, is Doug Green. So,
Excellent.
Doug, thank you so much for following along with us. Please drop us an email to beerguys@beerguysradio.com. And we'll get you a very cool swag pack sent your way.
That's right.
Aaron, you know the drill, man. Tell them how they can get in the mix.
Well, Tim, it's easy. All you have to do is sign up for This Week in Georgia Beer at beerguysradio.com, and you, too, can get signed up for our awesome giveaways to give away. Plus, you'll also get a very nice swag, or not nice, weekly update on what's going on in Georgia Beer. Beer releases, beer events, all that kind of stuff. Tim puts it together, does a great job, does yeoman's work on that stuff. And you get it every morning on Friday, and we don't spam you otherwise. So head to beerguysradio.com, sign up for This Week in Georgia Beer, get an awesome list of beer events, and be entered to win stuff.
I like stuff.
I like stuff, too. I'm a big fan.
Beer stuff, right?
Definitely. So coming up next week, by the way, we're heading out for the weekend. Then coming up next week, we're going to get back to the beer, talking to Roswell's own Gate City Brewing. So that's going to be fun. We talked to them a couple weeks ago offline, and it's going to be a good time. So thanks for listening to Beer Guys Radio. Check us out at beerguysradio.com. And, of course, we are on the socials. Don't forget to drink local. Cheers.